All there is brothers and sisters, and Charles Manson is your brother.
Believe me, if I started murdering people, there'd be none of you left.
The Manson family was always talking about love. To them, love meant death, love meant murder.
It was a media circus, and in that context, no one could have received a fair trial.
I think he's just a very evil, sophisticated con man. And his biggest con is that he's really a cold-blooded killer. But he tried to cleverly masquerade behind the common image of a hippie, that of being peace-loving.
In this way, his so-called family was born.
Everybody has to come to truth. The whole country, the whole world is going to have to come to truth. And that is not money. Truth is not in your money.
Every member of Manson's family, before they met him, had already dropped out of society. Most of them were heavily involved in the use of psychedelic drugs. So he had the raw material to work with. And with that raw material, as I indicated, he used conventional techniques to gain control. So he sang to them, played his guitar, gave them drugs, told them some verities. Told them things like perhaps the poor boys in Vietnam were fighting a rich man's war. He spoke about the preservation of wildlife. He spoke about the pollution of the environment. Some real verities, things they wanted to hear. But somewhere along the line, when he saw he was gaining so much control over them, that he impregnated their mind with this virulent, perverse, poisonous philosophy on life, i.e., that we had a sick society that could only be cured by a violent revolution. And somewhere down the road, there was mass murder.
Paul Fitzgerald, one of the family's defense attorneys, recalls the Manson family differently.
As the Manson always said, he said to me many times, I never picked up somebody that somebody else didn't discard. Squeaky Fromm, one of his nearest and dearest allies, he met on Venice Beach as she was sobbing, disaffected, wanted to run away. Everybody was a runaway. Everybody was unhappy. And with Charles, they found happiness. With Charles, they found life. With Charles, believe it or not, they would look me in the eye and tell me they found love. And when they looked into his eyes, they saw love. They told me that over and over and over again. They would do anything for him, not out of power, but out of love.
When I first met him, the man talked to me and he says, why don't you come up and the rules are that, there is no rules. You just look at it and just be beautiful with it, and it's just beautiful to you. Yeah. And I love him.
Mm-hmm. His so-called power, it only lies in his happiness. Yeah. That's what attracts people, is he's completely happy.
Warm. He dances.
Generally, he dances, he sings, he looks beautiful, he looks happy. And this draws a lot of people, just like people are drawn to little babies.
His followers totally, leading them into group sex and constant drug use.
It was pretty obvious what he was trying to do. He was trying to break down their ego, break down their pride. He used drugs very successfully. The main drugs in the family were marijuana and LSD. LSD, they say, is a mind-altering drug. He went on many trips with his family, and when they were on a trip, he'd dig down very deeply into their psyche and try to remove many of their long-standing convictions on life, such as it is wrong to kill. He'd say, who told you it's wrong to kill? And they may have said, well, my folks did, or my parents. And he says, well, it's already been conclusively established that your parents were wrong about everything else. Maybe they're wrong about this, too. Maybe death is a very beautiful thing. We have a very sick earth here, and maybe by removing people from this earth, we're doing them a favor and they don't even realize it.
And much of the other language in his prophecy, from the White Album by the Beatles. He believed the group's music contained hidden messages meant for his ears alone, and that the Fab Four were encouraging his dream of a bloody revolution.
There was a song in the album called Piggies, and the words are to the effect that the piggies need a damn good whacking. And he told his family that what the Beatles meant by this is that the white establishment needed a damn good whacking. The word pig was written in blood on the front door of the Tate residence. The words "death to pigs" were printed in blood on the living room wall of the La Bianca residence. There's another song on the album called Blackbird, and the words are to the effect that the blackbird should fix its wings, rise up and fly. Manson told his family that by blackbird, the Beatles were talking about the black man, and the Beatles were telling the black man to rise up against the white man, and the word rise was printed in blood on the living room wall at the La Bianca residence.
Witnesses testified. Vincent Bugliosi, then a deputy district attorney for Los Angeles County, prosecuted Manson and his followers.
In the world in which he moved, i.e. the offbeat, dropout world of the hippie, he was a heavyweight in that world. For whatever reason, kids seemed to just gravitate towards him. And he didn't have to get up in any orange crate and start screaming to get attention. So there was a magnetism, there was a charisma about him. He's a pseudo-philosopher, a vagrant wanderer, a frustrated singer-guitarist, a megalomaniac. But if I had to describe Manson in just a couple words, you know, the bottom line on him, I think he's just a very evil, sophisticated con man. And his biggest con is that he's really a cold-blooded killer. But he tried to cleverly masquerade behind the common image of a hippie, that of being peace-loving.